Welcome to the Bottle Poppin' Podcast, where Meg and Heather share their love for oils, friendship, and entrepreneurship. Let's get it poppin'.
Hi, everyone. This is Meg.
Hi there. This is Heather.
And we are the Bottle Poppin' Podcast. And I want to start off by just wishing you a happy new year. If you are listening to this real time, it is almost the end of 2022. So, Heather, you want to explain what we're popping open today?
So we did this last year as well, where we reviewed our top 10 oils or doTERRA products, more likely, that we used for 2021. So we are going to do that for 2022. I think that it's really interesting that when we were creating this list for the two of us, there's not a lot of overlap from last year. There is a few, but for the most part, it's a completely different list this year.
Yeah. So fun, and just shows we're in different stages of our life and need different things. This is where it's just so nice to have a stash of oils for whatever is going on at that time in your life. Yeah, if you do want to go back and listen to what we had for 2021, that is episode 11. So you can go check that out. And I'll link it in the show notes for this as well if you just want to go to it that way. But I guess let's get started.
Yeah, go ahead.
I will start. So the very first oil on my list is actually one that doTERRA doesn't sell. So I feel a little bit bad talking about it, but I have talked about it so much this year because I did not realize doTERRA didn't sell it. And by the time I realized that, I was like, oh, I need to start hoarding this oil. But also I'm going to talk about it because maybe doTERRA will hear this and then realize the people want this oil. So the oil that I'm talking about specifically is Bergamot Mint. And even though it sounds like two separate oils in a blend, it's not a blend. It's actually a plant that smells so good. You can think of kind of the citrusy smell of bergamot and then obviously the minty smell of mint. And it's just a super refreshing, super clean smell. But the main reason I used it, not only did I love the smell, and I would diffuse it just alone. I didn't even feel like it needed other things mixed with it. But from an emotional standpoint, it's really supportive if you're going through grief. And this has been a hard year with a lot of grief. And this oil really helped me at times when I felt like I needed to shift my mood. And so I love this oil. I really hope doTERRA at some point sells it. I think they gave it as a free oil at one point, and it sat on my shelf for forever without me even using it. And I just one day opened it up and smelled it and just felt that mood shift and have loved it ever since. I will say it's in the new shampoo and conditioner bars. So I still get a little whiff of it whenever I wash my hairs. I wash all of them, not just one hair. But yeah, I love this oil. I hope at some point we can just buy it and I will stock up at that point.
I actually don't use that one very often for no particular reason. I enjoy the smell of it. I did not know that about the grief part of it. So I think that is really interesting. And I will need to reach for this one a little bit more because you sell it really well.
I know. I sell it a little too well because the reason I found out that you couldn't purchase it is because I kept on talking about it on Instagram stories. And then people were reaching out saying, why can't I find it? Are they currently sold out? And then I felt real bad realizing I've been selling this oil, basically not intentionally selling, but just sharing how amazing it is. And people can't get it. So go get yourself the shampoo and conditioner bars. Get the therapeutic benefits while also cleaning your hair.
So the first oil that I'm going to talk about is Cedarwood. And I use this one currently every single night for sleep, which is a shift for me from last year because last year I spoke about vetiver as my go-to for sleep. And honestly, every single night, this is a little bit of a conflict for me because I go and stand in front of the oils and I look at the vetiver and it kind of looks a little lonely since I don't choose it anymore. But I know that my husband still uses it, so it's okay. And some nights I will still just put a little bit on my wrist. I don't know why I shifted. I can't honestly tell you why or when that happened. But this year, I have not used the vetiver as much for sleep. I have used the cedarwood, and I don't apply the cedarwood to my wrist the way I used the vetiver. I take the bottle and I tilt it upside down directly on top of my head until I wait to feel a drop or two hit my scalp, and then I move on and I go to bed. And I have to tell you, I have been getting really good sleep this year, and I don't know why I put it right on my head. It feels like it goes right to the source that way. Mm-hmm. I can't even smell it that way. Part of the reason I put vetiver on my wrist was because I sleep kind of curled up on my side and I can still smell it. I don't know, but it works.
I love that. I need to try that because I do know cedarwood for so many people helps with sleep. Why not put it in the middle of your head?
And it does work good in the diffuser. I've diffused it with lavender before. It is good for sleep in general. So it is nice. It's just a nice woody scent, but just the application right on the top of the head, however many drops seep in. I don't know. It works.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I definitely use it in the diffuser at night quite often. I have a whole lineup of oils that I kind of rotate through, but that is one that I use in the diffuser, but I need to try it on my head. Okay, so next up is Adaptiv pills. So not an oil. I do love the smell of Adaptiv oil and have used that in the past. But this year, again, it's 2022 has been kind of rough for me. And Adaptiv pills specifically help you adapt to what's going on. And this is one that I feel a huge shift when I take it. And Heather, you and I have talked specifically about, is this escaping, like a way to escape what's really going on, kind of like medication numbs you to things. But I don't feel like that's what's going on. It just really helps me deal with stressful situations. And so for some reason this year specifically, I have become more attuned to other people's energies. And so I might not be feeling stressed, but I'll be around people who are stressed or anxious. And then I start feeling stressed or anxious, or like I need to protect them from whatever's going to cause anxiety or stress for them. And then that's just a huge stressful burden on me. And anytime I felt that, I will take an Adaptiv pill, and it just like within 15 minutes, it's so much easier to handle. At this point, I carry them in my purse so that I'm literally prepared anywhere, have them in my office and at home as well. And I don't need it every single day, but I definitely go through phases where maybe I will take one for a week straight or something like that.
And that was part of the conversation that I felt strongly that it was not just masking the root cause and why it wasn't exactly the same as how medication would work for that purpose. I would say that I use the Adaptiv supplements a lot, probably about 2 or 3 years ago. They had come out maybe in 2019 or so.
I'm pretty sure that's right.
Yeah. So I feel like 2020 and into early 21, I feel like I was using them a lot in certain periods of time. And I did question when I would use them several days in a row, am I using this as you would use a medication to help with anxiety or whatever? The reason I felt like I wasn't is because I really only needed to use them for a period of time. And then I would completely forget about it and they wouldn't even be on my radar until I was going through another stressful period of time. And I don't know if those were related to, there was a lot going on in the world right then. I don't know. Right. I don't know if I could attach it to hormone changes or, life circumstances. We went through a couple big moves during that time frame. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure, if mine followed a particular cycle or not, but I do recognize that I needed to use them for a certain period of time and then I didn't need to use them anymore. So I don't feel like they are the same from the medication. I do feel like they helped me shift within that 20 minutes, similar to what you said, my mindset. So if I was going to be going into some situation that was overwhelming or my kids were just starting to overwhelm me, whatever, I recognized that I needed to change something or I was going to become overly stressed and then not sure what's going to happen after that. So I would take one. And it allowed me to just continue. I never felt like I was just going to lose it or feel more and more overwhelmed. And I really appreciate them for that. I do use them proactively in situations when we are going to Disneyland, when we are going to be in situations at a party with lots of people. I'm an introvert. And I get way overwhelmed when there's a lot of people in a small space around me. And I know now that that's how I am. And so I will just take one beforehand and it gets me through the event without feeling so stressed. They that's just haven't been on my radar much this year in a good way.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. My next on my list is, interestingly enough, kind of the switch that I have made this year. So instead of using so much Adaptiv, somebody had mentioned years ago that they really wanted doTERRA to come out with Tulsi, also known as holy basil. I had never heard of this. I didn't know what it was. They said that this was a huge oil for them when it came to stressful times. So when this one came out as a permanent product, there was a lot of people that were really excited. And I remember this one particular doTERRA leader who would say that she had been really looking forward to this one for stress purposes. Again, I got it. It sat on my shelf. I didn't use it. Something drawed me to it when I was standing in front of my oils one day and feeling stressed, and I reached for it instead of Adaptiv. I love Tulsi. Tulsi's so beautiful smelling. And so now if I am feeling stressed this year, I tend to reach for the Tulsi. I will smell straight from the bottle. I'll put a little bit on my index finger and I rub it behind each ear. Sometimes I've even just kind of like swiped it under my nose, take a deep breath, and I go back to what I'm doing. And it's really, really relaxing and nice.
Yeah, I feel the same way, especially with the relaxation. Ironically, Tulsi, I don't remember where I heard this, but somebody else I heard talking about applying it the way you apply cedarwood and apply it to the crown of your head. And so I've done that multiple times as well to like give me instant relaxation. And then my hair smells good too. So
that makes sense because it says in the Essentially Motions book that this is an exceptionally high vibration oil and it shifts negative mental and emotional states almost instantly. So I can imagine if you're putting it on the crown of your head, that would really be instantaneous too.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, number 5 on our list is actually one that was on my list last year, but this is still an oil I use every single day. And I love the way it smells. I love the way it makes me feel. I love the way I apply it. So this is rose touch oil. And I have a whole process that I do in the morning. So I wash my face at night with face wash and stuff like that. But in the mornings, I just use water on my face. And that was something that a dermatologist told me a while ago to do because I have super sensitive skin. So like washing my face again in the morning, she said would not be good for me. So I just splash water on my face. But then normally after a shower, I will dry off my face and then I take Rose Touch and I apply it all over my face. But as I'm applying it, I basically have a mantra. So rose, from an emotional standpoint, is the oil of love. It's also one of the highest vibration, maybe not one of the highest. I think it is the highest vibration oil energetically. And like I said, it's the oil of love. So I apply it across my forehead and remind myself that I think loving thoughts. I put it on the side of my eyes where there would be crow's feet and that type of thing. And I say, I see love all around me. I put it on my cheeks, but kind of going towards my ears. And I say, I hear loving words. And then I put it around my mouth and I say, I speak love. And then I roll it down my throat and say, I take in love. And then after that, I put all of my skincare routine on top of that. But that mindfulness of reminding myself that there's love all around me has definitely changed the way I see the world. And it's such a good reminder. And the fact that now it's part of my daily habits is just, I do think it has changed my life. I've been doing that for probably 3 years now and don't know that I will ever give it up. So rose oil is amazing. And I will say as well, pure rose is the most expensive oil. I think it's still the most expensive oil, maybe the new jasmine. The Rose Touch is pre-diluted with fractionated coconut oil, so it is more affordable. But I personally have not paid for a Rose Touch in years. I think maybe I only paid for it when it first came out because I have that loyalty rewards points I can use. And I always have plenty to cover that. So even though it's an oil I use every single day, I get it for free, which I love that part about it too.
I love that rose ritual of yours. I have tried to do it a couple of times. It's not something I've ever created as a habit, but I think that is a beautiful thing that you do.
Do you want to share what you actually end up telling yourself?
I didn't know if you remembered.
I do.
Okay, I'm not sure that I remember it exactly, but I remember it didn't go as well for me as it did for you. For some reason, I picture the hear no evil, see no evil or something like that.
Right.
So I think I ended up saying like the complete opposite. Like, I don't
like evil.
But it was not love. Love did not go into my application. And I thought, maybe I shouldn't do that.
Yeah. Well, and here's what's so interesting about our subconscious mind too, because like I see no evil is a really positive thing, but our subconscious mind really pays attention to words. So if you are telling yourself evil, evil, evil again over and over again, even though it's something you don't want to see, your mind is picking up on the evil part. So if you've ever wanted to try doing mantras, try to pick the positive. Even like, I want to lose weight. Well, loss is a negative, and then you're focusing on the weight. And it doesn't matter if it's gain or loss. Instead, it should be, I want to be healthy. And now everything in that sentence is a positive.
That makes complete sense. And yes. And again, I have tried it the correct way multiple times. Right. It just doesn't seem to stick. Luckily, I think I've only done it that bad way one time. After that, I was like, yeah, I'm not sure that this is, I'll use rose. I use rose, but I don't say the mantra at the same time with it until I'm guaranteed to get it correct.
Right.
Oh, so daily habit stuff. My next one is actually the new MetaPWR. Now, I can't say I've used this for the full year because it didn't come out until convention in September. However, it has been a daily part of my life since then. MetaPWR has done a variety of different positive things for different people, just depending on their body and I guess where they were at with different things in life. For me, the biggest outcome that I have seen is improved sleep. Now, I know I just said a few minutes ago that I have slept well this year with the Cedarwood, and I have, but I do feel like since I've been doing MetaPWR, my sleep is much deeper, which is interesting. And I fall asleep so quickly. I'm really impressed with how quickly I fall asleep, because the way Cedarwood would work for me is it would take me a while to fall asleep, but once I fell asleep, I was asleep and I was fine. MetaPWR now helps me fall asleep quickly, and then I also deep sleep too. So I've really enjoyed it from that direction. And then I feel like it's just an added part of my day at this point. I know if I'm going to eat a high carb meal, I go ahead and take the assist, hopefully 15 to 30 minutes beforehand, if not right beforehand. The collagen has been an easy thing to add into my day in the morning. And so even if I don't feel some of the weight loss benefits and stuff like that other people have experienced, I know that it is still doing a lot for me on a cellular level to prolong the vitality of my life. And so I'm happy with that. And the sleep has been rewarding.
Yeah. Just a few episodes ago, we gave updates on how MetaPWR has changed us since we started taking it. So it was Heather, I, and then also my husband, Donald. And so all three of us had totally different positive reactions, outcomes. I think all three of us will continue to use this going forward because we really enjoy the benefits that we've gotten from it. All right. So next up is frankincense. And frankincense has been an interesting one for me this year. I think everybody loves frankincense, but I was not using frankincense that often. And now that I'm seeing more clients in my nutrition business in person, I've actually been incorporating frankincense with their consultations and seeing how powerful this oil is and how it's been able to really help my clients made me realize like, oh, maybe I should start using this more often as well. And at one point I looked at my oil shelf and I actually had 4 or 5 bottles of unopened frankincense, which is crazy. And again, frankincense is an oil that I have not purchased in forever because every December doTERRA has given us a free bottle of frankincense. Another reason to get on the loyalty rewards plan. And sometimes it's just a 5 milliliter, sometimes it's a full 15 milliliter, but I had a lot of frankincense. And because I've seen such huge shifts with my clients, I decided I should start using it more often. And I have, and it smells good. It makes me feel good. I also, one of those 5 milliliter bottles I recently gave to a friend, and it felt like an extravagant gift to give her, but she really needed all the different types of support that come from frankincense. And I just felt so blessed to be able to give that away. And she's actually a Young Living user. And she was like, are you serious? You're giving this to me? And I was like, yes, you need this right now. And it was gifted to me from doTERRA. And so I'm happy to gift it to you. And yeah, she loves it and has benefited from it. So interestingly enough, this past week, I had a really interesting frankincense experience for myself. So at the time of this recording, we've just gone past the deadline that people who use healthcare.gov here in the US to get their insurance had to make their decisions. And it is seriously one of the most stressful things of being an entrepreneur is being responsible for your own insurance and trying to figure that out and navigate it. And so my husband and I have spent a lot of time trying to figure out what we're going to do because the choices we made last year for health insurance have not worked out well for us and they're costing us a whole lot of money. And so one morning we finally made a decision, and it was just like multiple hours of stress to finalize our decision and then figure out how to move forward. And afterwards, I just felt this heaviness, and I just felt off balance. In fact, it was to the point where I thought, do I have PMS? And pulled up my app. I thankfully don't often experience the PMS mood swings, but every now and then I do. And that's not what was going on. And so I thought, I'm going to use my Zytoscan, which is a biofeedback machine. And the version I have now, I'm able to do an oil of the day. And so I scanned myself for the oil of the day, and it recommended Frankincense Touch. So frankincense in a roller bottle. And then it had just kind of generic, this is why you might need it, and this is how to apply it. But it said in there to shift your mood and balance out your mood, apply it to your temples. And I thought, okay, well, that's clearly where I need to apply it. So then I pulled up the Essential Emotions app on my phone to see what it does emotionally. And the big stuff that it does has to do with trusting God and being connected to God, which I thought was interesting because I wasn't thinking that this was an issue with me not trusting God. But it ends up, it kind of was because in here, so this is what it says as far as the emotions it addresses. And so I'll just read off this list. And I realized almost every one of these I was struggling with. So abandonment. So feeling like it's all on us to figure this out and feeling very alone about that. Disconnected. Again, like it's all on us. They make it really hard to just call somebody and ask questions you want. So felt disconnected. Unprotected, 100%. We need insurance to feel protected, and this past year we have not felt protected by our insurance. It's been horrible. Darkness, and it says specifically spiritual darkness. And as soon as I read that, I was like, that's it. That's what I'm feeling, is like just this heaviness and this weight. And then it has positive things you want to feel from it, like feeling aligned, enlightened, loved, protected, wisdom, discerning, connected. All of those I felt like I needed at that point. So I applied it to my temples just like it said to do. And literally within 5 minutes, I just felt this weight lift off my shoulders. Like I kind of want to cry talking about it, which is ridiculous. But it was one of those moments that I've been using essential oils for 10 years. And still I have these moments where I'm like, oh, wow, these really work, But it was such a relief to, first of all, have this tool that told me exactly what I needed, because I don't think I would have reached for frankincense. But secondly, like not even be able to define what I was feeling, just knowing that I did not feel right. And I had so much stuff I needed to do that day. And I had clients I needed to see and show up for, and I needed to lift that darkness and that heaviness off of me. And this oil totally set me up to have a good day from that point on. And it's been 2.5 days. I still feel so much lighter, and I have reapplied it a few times. But frankincense is so amazing. So if you are like me and have been with doTERRA for a long time and have all these unopened bottles of frankincense because it's a precious oil, open it up, use it, like apply it to your feet if you don't like the smell. But it's so good and so powerful. So yeah. I'm loving frankincense, and probably if we had made this list, on Wednesday of this week, it would be number 1 on my list because of the experience I've had this week.
Related, but not related. My aunt gave us a cookbook for our wedding, and in it, she wrote in it, inscribed stuff. And I love when people personalize books like that. But she basically wrote a list of that life is short and you need to eat on fine china daily. It doesn't need to be for special occasions. Drink champagne when you want to. It doesn't just need to be for special occasions. And frankincense was not on the list, but I can see frankincense making the list of, even though it's a precious oil, use frankincense when you need to, because it comes with all of these positive properties. And that is a really good reminder of having access to these tools, but making sure that you use them to get the benefits out of them. And I love that it was able to shift you so quickly, because when you were telling me that story earlier and you described your day on Wednesday, you said Wednesday was a great day, which is so funny because if you would have just described the morning, I'm definitely thinking you would not have said it was a great morning.
Definitely not. It was not a great morning, but I had this distinctive shift in my day, and it continued to just be a great day from that point on.
So good. So good. Well, I'm going to shift gears a little bit here with my next one. So my next one is On Guard, and we have used this oil a lot over the years, and we use the laundry detergent and the hand soap. So we are getting On Guard on our family every single day, but the oil specifically comes in handy when somebody's coming down with something. And I feel like, oh my goodness, since we've gone back to school this year, my kids have been sick more this year than any other year. And Texas has been open for a very long time after COVID. Like we were one of the first places to truly open back up. So we've been exposed to stuff for a long time, but now I think maybe everything's just open. So people are interacting with people they hadn't in a while, traveling places they hadn't. And our exposure just seems to be up a lot more than what it ever has been. And so we've been using a lot of the On Guard oil in my house. Anytime somebody starts feeling something, it becomes a daily ritual of spine. I like to put it right on my throat if I'm having a sore throat. And so we just have been using it a lot more this year than I feel like we even have in the past.
Interesting. Yeah. And On Guard was on my list last year when we did this, but I have not used it that much. I feel like the hand sanitizer, I have it in our soap dispensers upstairs, but our downstairs ones are Citrus Bloom. So even the hand soap, I'm not getting as much of it right now. But I also don't have kids, and I'm primarily hanging out with adults. So I'm not getting quite as exposed as you guys are.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the next one for me is peppermint oil. And this has been a long time favorite for me. The main way I use it is I still love it in my coffee. I just love that minty, refreshing coolness with the hot coffee combo. So good. Ironically, when I was in high school, I went to a wedding and they had a coffee bar, and that was the first time I ever had peppermint in my coffee. I don't even think I drank coffee that often, but it was in a cold city. And I'm sure like now looking back, they probably had like Baileys and different liqueurs to mix into it, but I was not doing that. And so they had peppermint sticks, and I was like, peppermint stick in my coffee. And I loved it then. And I still love peppermint in my coffee. So yeah, that's just a daily routine. Peppermint specifically is really good for your GI system. And not that I have GI issues generally, but maybe that's because I do use peppermint internally daily. And then I also really like peppermint in the diffuser, and I just feel like it blends so well with so many different oils. So I use it often that way as well.
So we primarily use peppermint at this point on road trips, and we absolutely love it for when we are starting to fade, we're getting tired, it's too late to have more coffee. And so I will, if he's driving and I feel like I need to kind of pick me up too, I'll put a drop of peppermint in each of our hands. We rub them together, we smell them, and then we rub it on the backs of our necks. And it helps so well. The funniest part is my kids do not like the smell of straight peppermint. And so quickly, they didn't hear the conversation between us. They might have their headphones on doing technology or something. All of a sudden they're like, ew, who's doing peppermint? Mommy and Papa need to stay awake. We are using the peppermint.
Yes.
Okay, so my last one is actually a combination of oils. There is a sales and success coach named Tiffany Peterson who gave her recipe of a face serum that she uses a long time ago, and it sounded wonderful when I first heard it. And so I decided to create it at home as well. And I have been using the serum for at least a year, if not a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. She calls it the Glow Blend, and it is 20 drops of yarrow palm, 20 drops of frankincense, 10 drops of copaiba, 3 to 4 drops of blue tansy, and then she tops it off with rose hip or jojoba oil. I have added rose, a few drops of rose to mine as well. And I very rarely actually look at the recipe anymore. I kind of just put stuff in. So every now and then I may put in a little bit more of copaiba or something, blue tansy, whatever it is I feel like. But I will also add a few drops of the rose oil to mine. And it's so good smelling and it feels really soft and nice on my skin. And so as soon as I get out of the shower or after I've washed my face, I just apply that over my face and my neck. And I kind of do the same directions of applications that you would for what is the
Gua sha?
Thank you. Yes, the gua sha. So I don't have one of those, but my hand does similar motions while I'm doing that.
Love it. Love it. And again, like that kind of goes back to the cookbook that your aunt or somebody gave you for your wedding. Like all of those oils are powerhouse oils. Don't save them for special occasions. Use them. And I'm sure that blend lasts you a super long time too, right?
It really does. In fact, when I have to refill it, I'm always surprised because I was like, I couldn't even tell you the last time I refilled it and how many drops of each thing again. So I have to kind of think about it or look it up or don't. I just kind of create my own version of that, which is nice too. And it's funny when anytime we have a conversation of what our most used oil is, because I completely forget about the things like this that I use every single day. And it's multiple oils. So I just don't even think about it being those oils. If you ask, do I use yarrow pom? I would tell you no. But I do every single day. It's just in a face serum.
Yeah, I love that. All right. Well, that is our top 10 oils for 2022. We'd love to know which one of these stood out for you, or even if you want to share with us what your favorite oil was for 2022. Let us know. You can either tell us by going to our website, bottlepoppinpodcast.com, or you can comment on any of our social media with the same name. We'd love to hear from you and hear what your favorite or most used oil was for this year. So we hope you've enjoyed this episode. Again, if you want to hear what our top oils were for 2021, go check out episode number 11. I want to remind you that we do our Ask Us Anything every month. And so we'd love to have you join us on Zoom on the third Thursday of any month, except for the month of September. And it's just 30 minutes of connecting, and we'd love connecting with you guys. So thank you so much. We hope you have a happy new year, and we look forward to continuing to serve you in 2023 with this podcast.
Thanks for tuning in. For more information, you can follow these bottle poppin' ladies at bottlepoppinpodcast.com. Tune in next week to learn about what bottle we're poppin'. Until next time, take care. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This podcast is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease.